Alright, what's happening? So a relatively short gap in between the making of these videos for me. But, you know, kind of like I had mentioned in the last one, I've literally got nothing else to do. I imagine we are within days of, you know, receiving like a mandatory stay-home order from the fucking government here in Kentucky. It just happened to Indiana today, and I could literally throw a fucking baseball into Indiana. So, you know, that's just kind of when I have nothing else to do, and even with nothing else to do, I kind of put this off for a few days. So yeah, that's about what you can expect. So I just pulled out some shit, and we're gonna talk about it. First things first, obviously, is what we're listening to in the background. This is Unborn Salivate with Paraphiliac Orgiastic Atonement. I'm also wearing the Unborn Salivate shirt. For those of you not familiar, this is one of Justin Stubbs' projects. He also makes videos here on YouTube. He calls them Prime Directive, but he plays in the bands Encoffination and Father Befouled. So it's, you know, it's not like those bands. This is definitely more on the very brutal death metal side of things. But it's super fucking gnarly, man. Nasty as hell. I'll leave a link to the Bandcamp page down below. Justin's a cool guy. Everything he does is really good as well, so yeah, man, don't sleep on it. Check the shit out. Alright, since I really have nothing new to report, I say we just get into it. And we're gonna start off with something I think you probably all saw coming sooner rather than later. This is Black Magic SS with the Black Abyss. So this is a compilation that was originally released back in 2015 on CD through Infinite Wisdom, I believe. And it pretty much just remained on CD. I think last year is when they did like the cassette version of it, but I'm not certain. I don't own it. But I know for a fact it was late last year when the pre-order for the 12-inch vinyl version went up for sale on Creep Purple Promotions. But immediately upon seeing this go up for sale, I bought one. And surprisingly, this thing was up and available for a few days before it actually sold out, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Black Magic SS, being that, you know, all the other shit came and went like fucking that. But maybe this was a higher limitation, which is what I'm hoping for, because it gives me hope that for future Black Magic SS releases, they won't be limited to like 100 copies and gone within literally seconds. This is also sectioned off quite nicely. The first side is 3 songs that were previously unreleased before the release of the original compilation. The Black Abyss, Step Into the Night, Crystallize. On side 2, it's the Hidden in Plain Sight EP. Side 3 is the Panzer Witch EP, and side 4 is the Symbols of Great Power EP. So, with the possibility of it being a bit of a higher limitation, this is also far and away the nicest packaging we've gotten for anything from Black Magic SS so far. Because everything else has just been like single pocket jacket with no inserts or anything like that. Where this is actually quite nice. I'll show you the packaging. So there's the front cover right there, and this is the same image that was on the CD. Of course, the album cover in its entirety is a bit different. There's the back cover right there. Like I said, Creep Purple Promotions. You have all the track listing and more sort of weird psychedelic artwork. This also is a gatefold, which is super fucking nice. More trippy artwork right there. Nothing is real, everything is permitted. And then these are coordinates, and I think that I saw somewhere, and this wasn't me who figured it out, so if it's wrong, not my fucking fault, though I could have done some research. I think those coordinates are for somewhere in Sweden. Don't know why. I have no clue. This is a double LP, just on black vinyl, though the labels are kind of cool. And this did include 3 stickers. Creep Purple Records, and then you have a Black Magic SS sticker there. Very, very cool. So, far and away, just some of my favorite stuff in the world. The song The Black Abyss is probably my favorite on here. The song Black Magic Army is probably the first Black Magic SS song I ever heard. There's just no complaints from me, man. This band is very nearly perfect, and the fact that people like to whine about it whenever they show their stuff off, I like that a lot. Check it out if you haven't heard it. Unfucking beatable, man. Black Magic SS, The Black Abyss. change my angle here if you didn't notice. The glare was giving me problems when I was showing the jacket, so yeah. Next up, this is Catharsis with World Without End. I think we all know Catharsis is a band from Germany, and I don't really know that they're active now. They did put out something I think as recently as 2009, but I mean that was still 11 years ago, so maybe not. Anyway, this is the third full-length album that came out in 2006, following Crucifixion, and XCIX was the first one. And this is still the most recent full-length album, and I would say, you know, in the most poetic way possible, this thing bleeds fucking hatred. This thing is hellish, it's chaotic, the riffs are dizzying, and there's actually something on here, where is it? Let me see. It says, fuck. Right here, it says Spawned in Chaos, Recorded in Hell, which I think might actually be true. The vocals are really good as well. They sort of range between high and low, but they're all super fucking reverbed. And every now and then there's like these breaks of these super like pained like wails. And I love that shit, man. It's weird because whenever I think about Catharsis, I always think about this band that sort of creates this wall of noise with their music. But when you listen to it, there's quite a bit more to it than that. I don't know. These albums, all three of them, pretty much remain just interesting throughout the whole thing. So I have no idea why it took me so long to get one of these. This thing has been steadily repressed through Norma Evangelum Diaboli. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, I guess, but yeah, these things get repressed every few years or so, with the exception of the first one, the album XCIX. I have no clue why that one doesn't. I don't think it's got any represses. In fact, I think it's only been pressed once. I don't know. I still don't have that one. But there's the front cover right there. She's kind of a skull in the middle of this sun thing. I like the back more. It's just the logo with like this sort of picture of hell behind it. Very fucking cool. There's the inner sleeve right there. You got a picture of like just inside of a tomb or something with song titles, and on the other side you have all the lyrics, which is cool. And the vinyl itself is black, red labels of course. Nothing overly interesting there. So I would say if you have never heard Catharsis before, I would say start with this one or Crucifixion. The Fourth Reich EP is quite good as well. But I think this is probably my favorite of the full-length albums. I don't know limitation, I don't know that it was specified anywhere, but you should be able to get this relatively easily as it was just reissued. So yeah man, badass. Check it out, Catharsis, World Without End. Alright, next up, I'm going to literally just avoid trying to pronounce the name of this album at all. This is Aryan Art. The album title, I think this band is from like fucking Bulgaria or something, but that's the album title. Google Translate is useless because it literally doesn't give you an English translation to whatever that says. So I don't know. I don't know what the song titles in this one are. I don't know what the album title translates to. Yeah, kind of a lost cause. But I would say if you guys know Aryan Art, like if you know any of their stuff, all their albums are pretty similar. There's pretty good production, but mainly it's very bright and colorful sounding. I don't know how to describe what that means, but if you listen to it, it doesn't have this sort of overly aggressive feel to it. It sounds almost, I don't know, I think colorful is probably the best way to put it. The album that came out in 2015, fuck, it translated to like Harmony, Universe, something, I don't remember. That's probably my favorite of the full-length albums, but if you liked that one, and I know a lot of people did, this is a lot like it. I ordered this back in 2018, and when I did, and it showed up, the guy actually sent me the wrong record. Two of the Aryan Art album covers, I think it's only two, are identical to it just looks like this. It's a black cover with the logo and then the album title. I actually ordered the other one because there was none of this one available at the time. So I ordered the other one, the guy sent me this, and I did message him just to kind of say like, hey dude, if you have the other one, you mixed up the albums, so just, you know, make your corrections on your end, but I'll keep this one. So he seemed quite appreciative. He you know, insisted on returning my shipping to me, which I didn't ask for. But yeah, it was cool, and I kind of made out better for it. This is the third full-length album from 2009, and I think this is the most recent before the one that came out in 2015, so it seems like they do release their albums with pretty big gaps in between the records. I guess I'm kind of just speaking on the last two, but I think this one was limited to 350 copies. Yeah, in fact, it's numbered here. I have number 224 out of 350, and 250 of those 350 are black vinyl. The other 100 is on just white vinyl. The vocals on pretty much all the Aryan Art stuff are very howled and pained, which is exactly like my favorite type of vocals that there are. The guitar work, as with everything else, is very intricate and just interesting. And I would say that's what this band's got going for it, man. I want all of it because this band can't help but put out a good record. Comes with an inner sheet with a picture of a couple of guys and a horse. And there's the back with the two guys in the band and all the lyrics. And the labels are not interesting, but that's what they look like. I know a lot of people just ignore this band on principle. That's retarded, I think, because it really is like very, very unique, very good black metal. Yeah, dig it, man. Check it out if you haven't heard it. Fantastic stuff. Aryan Art with the third album. Next up, we have a compilation, another compilation. This is Recluse with the Black Famine. So this is a compilation that includes the first demo from 2013, which was just called Recluse, and a release the following year in 2014 called Frozen Blood. And I actually have the Frozen Blood standalone release, and I should have pulled it out because now that I've shown this, I probably won't show that by itself. Or maybe I'll give it some time and I'll do it anyways. So the compilation originally came out in 2014, and I think it was just cassette and CD. But it wasn't until 2018 when Darker Than Black put the compilation to vinyl, which I didn't know it happened at the time. I didn't know that this was put to vinyl until recently when I saw it pop up and I just grabbed it. And if you're not familiar, this includes members from the band Lost as well as the band Cobalt. Like Mick Sorley does the vocals on all the Recluse stuff. And man, I'll tell you what, the vocals are some of the nastiest vocals I've ever heard. They're sort of like low and gurgly and reverbed, and I mean, it's truly like, this is the best example I have of like proper misanthropic black metal. I don't know, man, it's strange, it sounds gross, everything about it is just truly fucking disturbing, and I love it. There's the front cover there. You got like Mary with the 3 crosses, and some looks like meat giblets in the background there. There's a Blood Tempest song, like cover song on here as well, and Holocaust to the Natural Darkness. The vocalist for Blood Tempest did do vocals later on for this band, which I think is cool. But this doesn't come with anything. It's just black vinyl, though I do like the labels, how side A and B are labeled with like cassettes on the label. Quite cool. Yeah, fantastic, man. As with a lot of the Darker Than Black stuff, this is limited to 300 copies, and I would say this is probably relatively easy to get your hands on. So do it if you like nasty black metal. That's Recluse with the Black Famine. Alright, we're going to finish off here with an album that came out back in 2018 that maybe some people might be wondering why I never talked about it, because I've always given this band as much attention as I could whenever their releases would come out. This is Cult de Ghoul with Sinister, or Treading the Darker Paths. So this is the 4th full-length album now, and this one kind of came out of the blue. Like when Coven came out, there was quite a bit of like fanfare and just hype around it. And I think that Coven put quite a bit of people off from this band, because that's basically what happened to me. Like the first 2 Cult de Ghoul albums, Haxan and Henbane, I would say are like two of my favorite records that there is. And then when Coven came out, I felt like Cold Day Ghoul was kind of just wandering a little bit far off the path that I wanted to see this band on. And like, so much of that album was just a bit too theatrical. And I think there were parts of that album that just dragged on for way too long. It didn't sound like Cold Day Ghoul anymore, which is a bit antithetical to, you know, the truth, because it sounded like, vocally, musically, it sounded like a Cold Day Ghoul album. It was just something about the atmosphere didn't work for me. And then in 2018, 2 years after Coven came out, Cold Day Ghoul put out Sinister, and for me, I think this is a near perfect regression into the sound that existed on the first two albums. And I would say this kind of exists somewhere in between those first two albums. And most of this band's stuff seems to be quite hard to get your hands on. This is super accessible. I think it was limited to 1,500 copies, but like, that's kind of why I think that a lot of people were just sort of put off by the album that came before it. Because you can kind of, I think Hell's Headbangers just keeps this one on sale, and I don't get it. So like what existed in the sound on the first two Cold Day Ghoul albums, this is sort of like dark, cavernous, very evil sounding black metal, but of course it's more than that. This basically exists to sound fucking scary, right along with the first two albums. And vocally, it's all over the place, just like every other Cold Day Ghoul release is. They're sort of like the nasty high wretches, the sort of very reverbed, clean singing, the very like croaky low vocals. It's awesome, man. Fantastic shit. There's the front cover there, just a hand with a knife. Back cover, song titles, band members, shit, whatever. There's the inside, you got all the lyrics, and I love this picture here. It looks like kind of like a mob of people stole this lady's baby from her and is like sacrificing the baby to the devil, and the lady's over there crying. It's fucked, man. I like this medieval looking style artwork too. Double LP, black vinyl. All the labels have pictures of skulls on them, which is quite cool. But yeah, man, I don't know when this band will do something else. I hope it's more in the vein of this instead of following the path that Coven took. Yeah, great, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Cold Day Ghoul has never put out anything bad, but I do know that they have the ability to put out something that I'm just not all that interested in. I don't know. Fantastic. Love it to death. Check it out if you haven't heard it. That's Cold Day Ghoul with Sinister. And that's it. That's all. 5 records. I was gonna pull out 7 inches for this one again, but again, like last time, I just didn't think about it. Yeah. I don't know. Thanks for sticking around. We'll do this again soon. And yeah, see you then. Later.